The story follows a 16-year-old girl named Samantha who has been battling a disease called lupus. Instead of protecting her from viruses and harmful germs, her immune system turns against her own body, leaving her weak and exhausted almost all the time. Her parents, Ash and David, are billionaire biotech innovators. Fearing for her health, they never allow Samantha to step outside. Every part of her daily routine is strictly controlled, from the food she eats to the exact number of calories she is allowed to consume. Despite being surrounded by constant care and attention, Samantha feels trapped in her own life. She doesn't even have a single friend. Today marks her 16th birthday, yet her celebration consists solely of her parents and their household staff. To cheer her up, her parents pay for a surprise video call from her favorite pop star, wishing her a happy birthday. Afterward, we see Samantha standing before a mirror, peeling away patches of dead skin from her body before taking her medication. Desperate for connection, she asks an AI assistant how to make friends. The AI suggests exploring the outdoors or adopting a pet, but Samantha can do neither due to severe allergies. Constrained by her environment, she shuts her laptop in frustration and goes to sleep. The following morning, Samantha uses a specialized mechanical chair to lower herself into their swimming pool, closing her eyes to find a moment of peace. Suddenly, a jarring vision flashes through her mind. A scientist drugging her, surrounded by rows of glass tubes containing girls who look identical to her. When one of these clones snaps her eyes open, Samantha panics and bolts out of the pool. Later, her parents host a grand gala to launch Project Elysium, a high-tech, pristine island paradise designed as a sanctuary for survivalists after a global apocalypse. When guests inquire about Samantha, her parents dismissively claim she cannot tolerate being around strangers. Watching the gathering via security cameras, Samantha notices a waiter secretly smuggling food outside to party on the beach with a friend. Seizing the moment, she slips out of the mansion undetected. When she approaches the two boys on the shore, they simply mock her and walk away. Shortly after, a girl named Sydney approaches and offers her a drink. Meanwhile, Ashley enters Samantha's bedroom with a birthday cake, only to find it empty. She immediately orders the security guards to search for her, and they soon track Samantha down, dragging her away from Sydney and back to the house. Ashley harshly reprimands Samantha for her defiance, while Sydney is escorted off the property. That night, Samantha scrolls through Sydney's social media, disheartened by the thought that they will never meet again. However, having monitored everything through surveillance, her parents decide that Samantha needs a companion. The next day, they bribe Sydney to return to the estate. Samantha and Sydney quickly form a close bond and spend a wonderful time together. During one of their visits, Sydney asks if her parents are Russian, noting she overheard them speaking the language. Samantha explains that their biomedical empire spans the globe, dedicated to discovering rare plants with curative properties. Upon returning home, Sydney secretly administers the medications she stole from Samantha's house to her wheelchair-bound brother, Gray. Back in her room, Samantha is plagued by another terrifying nightmare. She hears a scientist speaking Russian just before a tube filled with blood wraps tightly around her neck. Waking up in terror, she immediately calls Sydney to come over, but Sydney is preoccupied caring for Gray, who is violently vomiting after taking the stolen pills. The next day, Sydney visits Samantha, and together they look through an old family scrapbook showing Samantha arriving at the mansion as a young child. Sydney astutely points out that Ashley has not aged a single day over the years. Samantha explains that her biological mother died during childbirth, and she knows nothing about her father, having been adopted by Ashley and David. In solidarity, Sydney opens up about her own life, sharing stories of her mother's severe mental health struggles and her estranged father, whom she only saw once every few years. Sometime later, while Samantha is sitting in the living room, an elderly woman breaks into the house, desperately screaming that she needs Samantha before attacking her and slashing her arm. The security guards quickly intervene and drag the woman away. As Ashley bandages the wound, Samantha expresses her suspicion that the woman genuinely knew her, but Ashley quickly brushes it off. Meanwhile, Gray and Sydney research the stolen medication on the dark web, discovering a horrifying truth. The drugs do not treat lupus at all, but rather act to deliberately weaken the human body. That evening, Samantha and Sydney cook a meal together. When Ashley tastes it, she praises the dish, and Samantha joins her in eating. Within minutes, both mother and daughter collapse unconscious, as Sydney had secretly spiked the food with a heavy sedative. When Samantha regains consciousness, she finds herself in the passenger seat of Sydney's car. Sydney urgently explains that her parents have been poisoning her on purpose to keep her sick, but before they can escape, their car veers off the road in a violent crash. They are rushed to a hospital, where an examining doctor realizes Samantha possesses an incredibly rare blood type that is virtually impossible to match. The doctor advises David to run further diagnostic tests, but David rejects this, immediately summoning his own private medical team. A few days later, Samantha recovers sufficiently to return home, though Sydney remains hospitalized in a coma. When Samantha asks about her friend, Ashley promises she will be looked after but strictly forbids Samantha from visiting her. Soon, Samantha experiences another vivid flashback, remembering herself inside a car driven by her parents. When she looks at them in the memory, their faces distort into terrifying masks, shocking her awake. She calls the hospital and learns from a physician that Sydney is still comatose, but more importantly, that she does not actually have lupus. Armed with this revelation, an enraged Samantha confronts her parents, accusing them of fabricating her illness. Her parents deflect, presenting falsified medical reports and claiming multiple doctors confirmed the diagnosis, but Samantha no longer believes them. Meanwhile, Gray visits Sydney at the hospital, where a doctor informs him that Samantha's parents are generously covering all of her medical expenses. Intrigued by the anomaly, the hospital doctor begins investigating Samantha's rare blood profile later that evening. On his drive home, his car suffers a sudden tire puncture. As he steps out on the dark road to change the tire, a vehicle pulls up behind him. An unknown assailant steps out, ambushes the doctor from behind, and brutally assassinates him. The next morning, Samantha joins her parents for breakfast, eating with an unusual, robust appetite. Noticing her sudden surge of vitality, her parents suspiciously ask if she is still taking her daily medication, and Samantha lies, nodding in affirmation. She is now swimming effortlessly in the pool, and her damaged skin has completely healed. Later that night, the truth is revealed as Samantha flushes her pills down the toilet. However, while brushing her teeth, she suddenly coughs up a torrent of blood. In the mirror, a reflection of Sydney appears, whispering for her to wake up. Samantha jolts awake, realizing it was all a vivid nightmare. Across town at the hospital, Sydney finally opens her eyes and regains consciousness. The following morning, the reality of the poisoning sets in. Samantha feels profoundly weak again, unable to walk properly or find an appetite. She realizes her parents have started mixing the debilitating drugs directly into her food. After vomiting in the bathroom, she logs into her laptop to watch old childhood home videos. This time, she spots a hidden door in the background of the footage that she had never noticed before. Under the cover of darkness, she sneaks into that specific room and discovers a hidden button. Pressing it causes a large mirror to slide aside, revealing a reinforced door requiring a passcode. Samantha attempts various combinations, including her birthday and her parents' anniversary, but the lock remains secured. Finally, she inputs the exact calendar date from the old video recording. The code works, and the door clicks open. She descends a flight of stairs into a sprawling underground basement. Inside, she finds commercial freezers stocked with dozens of bags containing her own blood. Nearby, her parents are lying on medical stretchers, actively receiving intravenous transfusions of her blood. Opening their eyes to see Samantha standing there, they quickly overpower her and restrain her to a medical gurney. Caught in their lie, they confessionally reveal the truth. Samantha's blood holds a miraculous, ultra-rare genetic property capable of curing any disease and reversing human aging. They have been exporting her blood globally to foreign buyers, generating a massive fortune. They admit she was never sick. They systematically poisoned her simply to keep her weak, compliant, and under their absolute control. Ashley approaches Samantha with a sedative-filled syringe to subdue her again, but Samantha fights back, turning the needle against Ashley and stabbing her with it. Breaking free, Samantha flees the mansion toward the beach, where she runs into Sydney, who had come looking for her. Joined by Gray, the trio sneaks back down into the secret subterranean laboratory and begins systematically destroying the stored blood bags. Moving deeper into the facility, Samantha stumbles into a secondary lab housing massive incubation tanks filled with growing human clones of herself, the very image from her pool vision. Overcome with rage, she begins smashing the equipment. The head scientist from her nightmares rushes in to stop her, but Sydney fatally strikes him down. A security guard quickly tackles and restrains Sydney just as David and Ashley arrive in the lab. Samantha holds a blade to her own throat, threatening to end her life instantly if they harm Sydney. David relents, adopting a deeply emotional, manipulative tone to pacify his daughter and break her guard. As Samantha begins to hesitate, David seizes the distraction and lunges forward, pinning her down. Samantha fiercely retaliates, driving a knife into him. Witnessing this, a furious Ashley attacks Samantha, beating her relentlessly. Refusing to submit, Samantha swings a knife wildly, slicing Ashley across the throat and killing her instantly. A year passes since that fateful night. The scene shifts to Samantha, who has successfully hidden the truth from the public, maintaining that her parents perished in a tragic accident. Her phone rings. It is Gray, who joyfully reveals that he has completely regained the ability to walk, entirely cured by a therapeutic treatment derived from Samantha's blood. However, his tone turns serious as he delivers one final piece of news. While clearing out the remaining sections of the underground facility, they uncovered another highly classified, deeper chamber containing hundreds of additional active clones. The story closes on the chilling realization that Samantha is just one of many, leaving her true origin an open mystery.